The 60-year letter. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to receive a message from a loved one after more than 60 years? A message carried across decades of silence and finally returned when the heart needed it most. In the early 1940s, World War II raged across continents. On distant battlefields, young soldiers faced the unimaginable. Days filled with deafening gunfire, nights lit by explosions, and every moment the uncertainty of seeing tomorrow. Yet even amid the chaos, there was something stronger than fear: the longing for home and the unbreakable bond with those they loved. One evening, as the guns fell silent for a few precious hours, a young American soldier sat in the dim glow of a lantern. He took out a worn piece of paper and began to write. Every word was soaked in longing. He told his little girl how much he missed her laugh, how he dreamed of holding her in his arms again, how every dawn brought the hope of coming home. Each line was a promise that love would survive the war. But destiny had other plans. The letter was never delivered. It was handed to a comrade in the trenches, a fellow soldier who understood how much it mattered. He promised to keep it safe and to carry that memory home if his friend could not. Long after the war ended, that promise remained. The old soldier tucked the letter away, moving it each time he changed houses, keeping it in a small box, never forgetting the vow he had made. And with every passing year, the weight of it grew heavier, a quiet burden on his conscience. In 2006, he knew the time had come. He was growing older, and he couldn't bear the thought that the words of love might be lost forever. So he began to search. Old military records, telephone directories, local archives, anything that could lead him to the little girl, now a woman he had never met. It was not an easy path. Some names were faded, addresses long outdated, but he refused to give up. Every evening, he sat at his office table, cross-referencing old notes, making calls, feeling the same sense of duty he had carried all those years ago. Finally, he found her address, and one quiet morning, he knocked on her door. When she opened it, he stood there, holding the fragile envelope in both hands, as if it were the most sacred thing he possessed. She looked at the letter in disbelief. Her father had passed away decades earlier. She had long accepted that whatever he had wanted to tell her was lost to time. But here it was, his handwriting, his words, his love, folded carefully in yellowed paper. Tears filled her eyes as she gently unfolded it. She pressed the letter to her chest, as though she could feel his embrace through the thin parchment. In that moment, 60 years vanished, and she was once again her father's little girl. This is not just a story about a letter. It is about the power of a promise kept, about a love that survived war, distance, and time. It is about how one man's commitment gave a daughter back a part of her father she thought had been lost forever. This story is based on real events reported by NBC News and other outlets. The letter was written around 1944-1945 and finally delivered to her hands in 2006. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Echoes of True Stories. Here, we share true moments that remind us who we are and how deeply we are all connected. Have you ever kept a promise that changed someone's life? Share your story in the comments below.